Welcome to the Craft Club Fold It Friday event, and we're doing a star card, and it's actually a pretty simple card. It's made with 5 sheets of 6-inch origami paper or scrapbook paper or any heavyweight paper or medium weight paper, but it opens up into a star, which I think is really neat. And you can add things into your pages, and they open up nice and just like a nice explosion kind of thing. And this one, I've put photos, I've put different things on them, and sometimes just something colorful. So you can hang it, you can keep it closed. It kind of has a lot of versatility. And this one is connected by a piece of ribbon, and I used a little bead to make that closure. So I'm going to show you how to do all that today. I'm going to show you how to do it with just some basic origami paper in different colors, just so you can kind of see the sequence. And it's so easy, but it doesn't look easy when you're finished with it. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the first one. We're going to fold all pages exactly the same way. So this is actually a very common base, an origami base. We just fold the paper in half in one direction, open it, and turn the paper and fold it in half in the opposite direction. What you'll have, if you look at the paper, you'll see mountain folds. Hopefully that's how you want to orient it. You want your mountain folds facing you right now. And so those creases need to be mountains, both of them. So the next fold is to take the point and fold from point to point, fold it in half, kind of in a triangle shape. And when you open it, you'll have a valley fold with these 2 mountain fold. And so there's a valley right here, and I'm going to make that a mountain. I'm just going to pop it up by pushing up from underneath. And now I have these 2 valleys, and I have these 2 flat edges. And what I need to do is collapse it on the existing folds I already have. So I'm not making new folds, but I'm collapsing them onto the existing folds that I already have. And I'm just going to crease everything. And we're going to make 5 of these. So if you, I'll do it again. In fact, I'll show it each time. I'll just fold 5. And if you need to catch up, I'll try to go very slow. We just make 1 and then set it aside and make the second one. Like folding in half. And open up. Turn the paper, fold in half again. These are valley folds. If I turn the paper over to show my mountains, I will make another valley fold, but I will do it from point to point. I'll make corner to corner fold. When I hold the paper, I just take my finger. I actually am using my middle finger underneath, and I'm just popping that center up. And now I'll collapse everything with 2 flaps on either side. You've got 2 flat areas on both sides. Just make those creases nice and sharp and move on to the next one. So I'm going to fold it in half. Open. Fold it in half in the opposite direction. I'm going to turn it over so that my mountains are showing. And I'm going to fold it in half, point to point. And now pop that center up, collapse your pages, and sharpen the creases. So we should have 3 done now. We'll just continue and do the 4th one. Fold it in half. Fold it in half again. Make sure your mountains are showing, facing up, and then fold it in half, point to point. And make that center pop out and go ahead and collapse. Is everybody following me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome, Miss. Great. All right, now I'm going to do the last one. And if you're not, I don't rush. If I'm going too fast, I'll wait. We're going to fold the last one. I'm going to mute everyone. Let's see, just for a minute. There we go. Okay, great. Okay, so now I've got the last one, and I'm going to collapse those. And I've muted everyone, but if you do have a question, just pop in and let me know, and I will be happy to answer. So now you have all of your 5. If you have all 5 of them, you just stack them with the folded edge, everything going in the same direction. So you have your open edges on one side, and you have your closed edges on the other side. So this is the time you'll want to decide how you're going to arrange your pages, if you want them to be, if you have different colors, which way do you want them? So I kind of stack them and get them ready, especially if I've added content already. If I've put pictures inside, it's actually easier to do the pictures ahead of time. If you're going to make things inside, this is the time to do it. It's just easier than to do it while it's assembled. But you can still do it. It just makes it easier this way. So now I'm going to take my glue stick. I'm going to put a piece of like a protective something underneath my first page, and I'm just going to, if you don't have a glue stick and you're using white glue or something a little more wet, I would suggest maybe putting some barrier in between, like something underneath. In fact, I can still do that now. I'm just going to put a little barrier right in between, right inside the top in that first little place that I can do that. This makes it so when I'm adding glue, I'm not going to get it underneath. So this would be then you can be really generous on how you apply the glue. So just put the glue on the top of the first page, and be generous because it needs to stick. So I've got a pretty good amount there. And I'm going to I'm going to take the next page, and I'm going to make sure that my folded edge is on the same side as the other one. I'm just going to basically stack evenly right on top and make sure that they're kind of lined up. All the edges are lined up, and then press. So now I have my first page, or my first 2 pages put together. And I'll do that again. I'm going to just take this little barrier and stick that inside. I'm just going to take my second page, the top of that one, and put glue. I think double stick tape would work right as well, but you just want to get all area. It just won't be as neat looking as the glue, but you can do it. Then you just stack it right on top. Okay. Take the same thing. Just do all of your pages the same way. I'll put that little barrier in because the glue is getting sticky. And I just got a big spillage on one side. There we go. But it all can be wiped off, I guess. Some of these glue sticks tend to have a lot of, they start to get crazy. So I kind of take the edge of it and I'll just wipe it off a little bit. So it's a little bit more accurate in how I apply it. And I'm just stack it. So I've got 4 pages right now. And then the last one is right there. So we've got 5 pages. Now we've got a nice little star. There's now my glue stuck to the liner stuck to it. Uh-oh. What did I do? There we are. Okay, so now I have the base. You know, this is the guts of the card. So you've got everything lined up now. If it's just kind of check it to make sure pieces of glue aren't sticking these folds, and just going to open it up and make sure it goes into a star when you put the 2 ends together. And when you're there, then we'll do the cover. And since I didn't make a cover, I'm going to just kind of wing it here. I'm just going to use this stuff, and I'm going to grab a pair of scissors. Here we go. I got a pair of scissors. Normally I would use a paper cutter, but I'm just going to wing it. What I need to do is to make a cover for this. I'm going to grab a paper cutter real quick. And I want a piece of paper, a piece of cardstock. It doesn't have to be really heavy, but just something that has some weight to it. You can even use an old greeting card, which would be nice, or it's just all kinds of things you could use, but something that will kind of give this some more body. These are a little bit under 3 inches square. So I like to cut my covers to be just a little smaller than that. So I'm just going to go about 2 3/4 square. I'm going to cut 2 pieces. And what I like to do, it kind of looks nice. You don't have to do this, but I love doing it. I use a corner rounder. If you don't have a corner rounder, just a pair of scissors will work as well. But I like to take my corner rounder and I punch out a rounded corner on 2 edges. Or you can do it on all 4. And let's just do it on all 4 for fun. And I'll show you how, if you don't have that, I'm going to do the scissor. You can do it with scissors too. So if you want to corner around, you just take scissors and just gently make a slight curve on all 4 sides. And there'll be a little bit, just a very, very tiny little tip gets cut off. So if you want to curve your edges that way, you can do that if you don't have a corner rounder. So then it gives a nice rounded edge. So now I have my little covers, and
are the covers the same size as your pages?
They're under. I've actually, since the pages are, when you measure them, they're a little bit under 3 inches. They're about 2 7/8 inches square. So I made this 2 3/4. So there's a little border edge. So I make them a little bit smaller than my pages. And then normally in a book you would make them bigger, of course, but this one needs to have the ability to hinge. So I don't like a cover to stick out farther than the pages. So I've got the pages ready, or the covers. And what I do to make the closure is a piece of just grosgrain ribbon. This one was probably too thin, so it's not as, doesn't work as well, but it works. But this ribbon kind of is thin. So I'm just going to put some glue right from the little place where my closed ends are to the open. I'm just going to diagonally just put the glue on straight. Oops, that's probably a little bit much. That's okay. It's a thick piece of ribbon. So I'm just going to lay it onto the card. You can use double stick tape if you don't have glue. I'm going to let that kind of sit a little bit before I put the cover on. So I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to take this glue and I'm just going to run it diagonally right along that where I want the ribbon to stay. And I'm just going to give it a little I'm not going to go too tight. I'm just going to give it some room. And I want it to stick out a little bit, like maybe about 1/4 of an inch or 1/2 an inch out. And I see what I did is I gave myself a lot more room on one side than the other, but that's okay. So I'm just going to let that sit a sec. And now I can apply, the thicker the cardstock, the better it is. It depends on how thick you use the ribbon, but I'm just going to go ahead and put this on with a glue stick. I'm going to put that right over, just kind of center it over that. And because this is not real thick, I'm going to have to press that for a little bit to really get it to look nice, to stay down. And the last one. I'm going to get that on there and there. So that's the card. So of course, you got to give it a sec to let the glue bond with the paper. This side has, and this one's still not sticking, but it may be that I didn't put all the glue down. Now it should open it up. Now I have my star card. So what I need to do now is to make the closure, because it just kind of flaps open right now. So the way I do that is I just take a bead, and like in this one, I've got these beads that we did, these paper beads, and I can decide which one I want. I'll just pick this one. What I like to do is I'm going to just trim. If you don't know how to do, if you want to bead a thin ribbon, and it's wide, but you want to just narrow the edge by just cutting a nice narrow edge. And actually, when you cut the narrow edge, cut it as long as the length of the bead. And then what that does is it makes it easier for you to thread it. And this, I need to cut it even more. Just kind of making a thread, making a bead needles, a needle out of the ribbon. I'm just going to go ahead and feed that through till it comes out, and now it's in there. So now, of course, I should have done both. So I'm going to pull it out a little bit, and I'll do the same thing with this side. This ribbon has a little wire. I just noticed. I can see that it does. So I'm going to try to feed them through at the same time. And if you can't get them through, sometimes a little glue or just twisting it, just something to get that area narrow enough so that you can push it through your bead. And I'm thinking I've got both of them. Yes. So this has got a nice tight fit, which is what I wanted. So it's just going to slide really nice and firmly down the card. And then I don't want to cut too much. I might have made that a little short today, but that's all right. So now I've got that. And when I want to open it, I just slide it open, but not all the way. And I open the card. And I can slide it back to close. So since all my glue's not set yet, I'm having issues there. There we go, there. So that's what you'll want to do, is wait for that glue to really set. And now that should all work. So there. Now I had a little bit too much glue on the edges. Now that's one way to make this card. And then there's another way that you can use the same fold. You can use the same fold, which I have these pieces I pre-folded. If you want to get a different, instead of a star, which is what this is, you can get an accordion. And the way you do the accordion shape is you take it's going to be a little different. Instead of doing stacking, you're going to glue pages like this. So I'm just going to take this page, and I'm just going to, it's a little bit more, you have to be a little bit more accurate where you put the glue, that you can just go ahead and lay it on the inside of your page rather than the outside. And then I just put it right, place it right on top. Just make sure that those creases match. It's a little trickier, but it can be done. And then what you do is just collapse it back on itself. Of course, in these, so you can create an accordion book just like that. So it would open up, instead of like a star, it would open up out like an accordion, which is really another fun way to do it. So like with the second page, with the next page, let's say I'll make a blue. I would just glue it here like this. And then you keep adding pages like this. So then you can put covers on both sides, and then it will open up just like an accordion book. So I think that's it. Wow, that was a quick one.